Yo, we gotta talk about this Imane Khelif, Angela Carini gender controversy and scandal at the Olympics and the culture war that is ignited. Especially because every social media platform is just flooded with opinions and claims. Where it's just today, these two had a first round boxing matchup. Khelif's representing Algeria, Carini's representing Italy. They start exchanging blows. At one point, Khelif strikes Carini so hard that her headgear appears to come loose. And after only 46 seconds in the ring, Carini forfeits, falling to her knees in tears. Right? And so Khelif gets declared the winner, and Carini saying afterward with a noticeably bruised face, "I have never been hit so hard in my life." And adding, "I felt a severe pain in my nose, and with the maturity of a boxer, I said enough because I didn't want to, I couldn't finish the match. I had to preserve my life." And also with that, noting two things. One, that she was not trying to make any sort of political statement by quitting, and two, that she's not qualified to decide whether Khelif should be allowed to compete. In fact, even saying she wants Khelif to keep going until the end. And if you haven't been online at all and you haven't seen the situation, at this point you might be thinking, Phil, why are politics even relevant here? Well, it's because there's been reporting that Khelif has male XY chromosomes, right? With the insinuation being, or some people outright saying, that she's trans. And actually, if you look into this, all this began during last year's Boxing World Championships when Khelif was disqualified after having high levels of testosterone, with the president of the International Boxing Association saying at the time, "Based on DNA tests, we identified a number of athletes who tried to trick their colleagues into posing as women. According to the results of the tests, it was proved that they have XY chromosomes. Such athletes were excluded from competition." However, both Khelif and the Algerian Olympic Committee denied that claim, and you also had the International Olympic Committee later clearing her to compete in the Paris Games, with its chief spokesman asserting that neither Khelif nor another Taiwanese Olympian who failed a sex test are trans, with the IOC even putting out a statement today clarifying that it bases the age and gender of all Olympic boxing competitions on athletes' passports. And on that note, Khelif's passport says she's female, which is important because Algeria doesn't recognize transgender citizens, and they wouldn't allow her to change her gender on her passport even if she wanted to. Right? It's one of those countries where even homosexual acts are illegal. But despite that, you have people throwing around the hashtag I stand with Angela Carini, with folks like J.K. Rowling criticizing the match in the days leading up to it, and then after it happened, sharing a pic of Carini crying and saying, "Could any picture sum up our new men's right movement better?" The smirk of a male who knows he's protected by a misogynist sporting establishment, enjoying the distress of a woman he's just punched in the head. Logan Paul also taking to Twitter and describing it as the purest form of evil unfolding right before your eyes. With that, saying a man was allowed to beat up a woman on a global stage, crushing her life's dream while fighting for her deceased father. Elon Musk responding to a post saying men don't belong in women's sports with absolutely, and similarly resharing a post with a clip of the punch saying Kamala Harris supports this, vote accordingly. But then with all that, you've also seen a lot of people saying those people are just sharing misinformation, right? Saying Khelif is not a man, has never been a man, she's not transgender, she was born a cis woman. But with that, saying she might have one of a group of rare conditions known as DSDs, or differences of sex development. There's some people with DSDs, they're raised as female, but they have XY sex chromosomes and blood testosterone levels in the male range. Which is why with that, you had people saying it's perfectly possible to talk about what the eligibility criteria should be for sports, and especially combat sports, without cruelly monstering someone with an intersex condition as a violent male. And others arguing Imane Khelif is not this like overpowered monster, then pointing to how she was defeated in a fight in the last Olympics, and adding, everyone tweeting now about how Khelif is really a man beating up a woman in the ring, she isn't, has likely never watched a moment of women's boxing in their lives. And I want to stress, while all of this is playing out, we really don't know what her situation is because her medical records have never been made public. But with all that said, we're gonna have to see how all this plays out, as it's just continuing to grow right now, and it's definitely one of the biggest gender controversies in the Olympics ever. And currently, unless something changes, it looks like Khelif will be facing off against her next opponent on Saturday. So in the meantime, while we keep our eyes on this, I gotta ask, what are your thoughts here?